I'll say it plain. On Father's Day, my daughter bought another man a $10,000 gift with my money and flicked me a $2 lottery ticket like a crumb off the table. Happy Father's Day, Dad. Beatrix sings that Instagram video tone she uses even off camera. She tosses a crumpled ticket across my dining table. It skids and stops by the salt shaker. If it hits, half's mine. Duh. I smooth the paper with the same hands that taught her to ride a bike in this very driveway. Well, I say that's thoughtful. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. Phineas is already grinning at his phone like a ringmaster. B, bring out the big one, he calls toward the hallway. She rises, heels clacking over my old oak floor, and returns hugging a glossy black case. The kind of case that smells like a credit check. She sets it in front of Phineas's father, Orville, who sits ramrod straight like the world owes him good posture. Sir, Beatrix says breathless, you've done so much for us. This is from the whole family. Orville flips the latches. Inside, a gleaming set of custom titlights, chrome bright enough to blind sinner. There's a little brass plate on the driver. Orville, fairways only. Mercy. Zelda whispers from the end of the table. My neighbor came with a casserole and a conscience. Those ain't from Dick's Sporting Goods. Orville strokes the driver like a cat. Now this, he says, glancing at my ticket. This is a proper gift. He raises his glass. To Beatrix. To doing things right. I feel it burn behind my ribs, a slow engine knock. Mavis, my sister, catches my eye over meatloaf. She gives me that don't start a war nod. I chew. I smile. I swallow pride like gristle. Elodie, my granddaughter, finally lifts her eyes from her phone. Grandpa, are you going to scratch it or whatever? It's not that kind. I tell her. You watch the drawing. Oh. Her thumbs start tap dancing again. Dad. Beatrix says, palms up, stage innocent. We wanted you in on excitement, and half is fair. You didn't buy it. I see, I say. I don't. We do cake. We do the reluctant hugs. At the door, Orville pats my shoulder like I'm a faithful lab. You raise a generous one, he says. Sure, I say. Sure did. When the cars peel off, the house exhales. I stack plates. The lottery ticket sits by the sink, soft with condensation. I tell myself it's all theater, that rich folks give rich folk gifts. I tell myself not to make it a thing. I fail. The kitchen clock hums. I open my laptop. Habit more than hope. Old guy with a spreadsheet and a pension. Kroger. Utilities. Gas. And then a line I don't recognize. Prestige Golf Outfitters. $10,784.19. My jaw goes tight enough to crack a tooth. I click for the details. Authorized user, Beatrix. The air shifts. The house, my house, feels smaller, like a shirt from high school I can't button. My phone is in my hand before I realize it. She answers cheerful. Hey, Dad. Miss me already? B, I say, and my voice doesn't sound like mine. Did you use my account today? Silence and a laugh like ice cubes in a glass. It's family money, Dad. We've always said that. And Orville's done so much. You weren't going to spend it. You took $10,000 without asking. 10,700, she corrects breezy. Custom engraving. B. Dad. She interrupts, voice sharpening. The scarcity mindset? It's why you never. She stops, inhales. Look, you got a ticket. We all win. That ticket cost me $2. I say, it cost me $2. She snaps. Half is mine if it hits. That's the deal. Everybody heard me say it. Mavis calls. Zelda texts. The phone becomes a hive. I hang up without goodbye. I stand there with the quiet and the smell of dish soap and the memory of her 6-year-old hand in mine at the county fair. The ticket lies on the counter like a joke I don't get. I take the trash lid off. Hover. Put the ticket in. Pull it back out. My hands shake. I slide it angry, careful, into the junk drawer under the rubber bands and the church pens. When I close the drawer, the house seems to settle again. I scrub the pans. I run the disposal. I look at the empty chair where my late wife used to sit and raise an eyebrow that said behave. The front porch is purple with Ohio dusk when I step outside. Crickets grind. The flag across the street lifts and falls. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Another alert. I don't check it. Not yet. Quincy. Zelda calls from her porch, voice soft. You okay, honey? I'm fine. I lie. Cake was good. You want the rest of my casserole back? Keep it, I say. You'll need breakfast. Back inside, I finally glance at my phone. New transaction approved. Prestige Golf Outfitters. $10,784.19. And under it, a second banner slides up like a magician's reveal. New transaction pending. Premium Travel Services, $13,602.47. I stare at the numbers until they blur, then at the drawer where the ticket sleeps. The phone rings. Beatrix again. I let it ring. I open the drawer. I pick up the ticket. On the fifth ring, I swipe to answer. Her first words are scalpel. Don't even think about canceling the car, Dad. The line goes quiet. So quiet I can hear my own pulse, while I decide whether to be the man who keeps swallowing or the man who finally spits the hook. B. I say, and my thumb hovers over the red button. Here's what I'm thinking. The call drops. My screen flashes. Car decline alert. Auto mortgage draft failed. I look down. The ticket isn't in my hand anymore. It's gone. When I was 30, I worked double shifts in a garage that smelled like oil and broken promises. I told myself it was for my family, for Beatrix. Now I'm 70, retired, and apparently still working for her, just without the paycheck. The morning after that Father's Day debacle, I sat in my kitchen with cold coffee and the glow of my laptop screen. The numbers didn't lie. First the golf clubs. Then the Premium Travel Services charge, $13,000 and some change. Beatrix hadn't just taken a joyride with my account. She'd booked a damn cruise. I called her. Morning, Dad, she answered, chewing like she had a mouthful of granola. What's up? You booked a trip? I said flat. Silence. Then a small laugh. Oh, that? Yeah, it's for Orville. A Mediterranean cruise. 2 weeks, balcony suite, all-inclusive. He deserves it, Dad. After everything he's done for us. Everything he's done? I gripped the phone until my knuckles turned white. I put you through college. Paid off your car. Helped with your first down payment. What about what I've done? That's what parents are supposed to do, she said. Her tone was sharp now, like she was lecturing me. Eric's dad? He goes above and beyond. He helps us with real things, our mortgage, Jake's school, the country club. That's why he deserves something special. You wouldn't have spent that money anyway. I couldn't find words. I just listened to her breathing, steady and unbothered, like she'd swiped a coupon, not $10,000. B, I said finally, my throat tight. That's theft. It's family money, she snapped back. Stop being so small about it. And then she hung up. The silence afterward was worse than her words. My wife used to say quiet houses are honest houses. You can hear the truth echo. That morning, the truth was loud. I spent the next few hours walking through my neighborhood. Kids played kickball in the street. Dogs barked behind chain-link fences. And Mrs. Henderson waved from a rose garden. The world looked normal, but inside I felt split open. Halfway down Maple Street, my phone buzzed. A text. Dad, I talked to Phineas. You're overreacting. We'll pay you back. Maybe for Christmas. B. Maybe for Christmas. Like 13 grand was stocking stuffer money. When I got back home, the ticket was still in the drawer. I pulled it out, stared at the numbers printed on its flimsy paper skin. $2. The same $2 I used to give her for ice cream at the Dairy Queen when she was little. I almost tore it in half just to spite her, but instead I shoved it back under the rubber bands and old receipts. That night, Mavis called. Quincy, she told me you're upset about some money thing. Is that true? She stole from me, I said. My voice came out flat, like steel. $13,000 to buy Orville a damn cruise. Jesus, Mavis whispered. B did that. She says it's not stealing when it's family money. Oh, Quincy, Mavis sighed. I don't know what to say. You don't have to, I told her. It says enough. We talked a while longer, but nothing eased the sting. When the call ended, the house swallowed me again. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the drawer, at the ticket. That's when the news came on. Good evening, Ohio. The anchor's voice boomed from the living room. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is estimated at $150 million. I froze. My coffee cup clattered against the counter. The numbers rolled across the screen, one by one, cheerful as confetti. 7, 14, 23, 35, 42, Powerball 18. I whispered them back as they appeared, each one pounding in my chest. 7, 14, 23, 35, 42, Powerball 18. I knew those numbers. The drawer was already open before my mind caught up. My hands dug past rubber bands and receipts until they found the crumpled ticket. My eyes scanned it once, twice, 3 times. Every single number. My knees gave out. I sank into the chair, holding the slip of paper that could rewrite every damn thing. That's when headlights cut across my window. Tires crunched in my driveway. A car door slammed. And then Beatrix's voice, sharp and electric, sliced through the night. Dad, open up. I know you saw the numbers. The pounding on my door rattled the frame. Dad, don't play dumb. I know you saw the numbers. Beatrix's voice carried that frantic edge of someone who'd already decided the money was hers. I sat at the kitchen table. Ticket clenched in my fist, my heart hammering. The house smelled of old coffee and motor oil from my jacket, and suddenly it felt like a courtroom. I opened the door. Beatrix shoved past me, her perfume filling the hallway. She was still in her country club dress, hair perfect, face lit up like a game show contestant. Oh my God, it's real, isn't it? Dad, we're millionaires. I stayed quiet, closing the door slowly behind her. We had a deal, she pressed, her hands trembling with excitement. Half is mine. Everyone heard me say it at dinner. I set the ticket on the table between us. That was a joke, B. Her eyes went wide. A joke? Dad, don't start this. You know I bought it. With my money. With my money, I corrected. My voice was steel. You bought it with my card. You gave it to me as a gift. That makes it mine. Stop splitting hairs, she shouted. This is family. Family's share. Do you have any idea what Phineas and I could do with $75 million? We could pay off the mortgage, start fresh, give Elodie the life she deserves. Don't you want that for your granddaughter? Elodie deserves honesty, I said, not lies wrapped in ribbon. She slammed her palms on the table. The ticket jumped. You can't keep this from me, Dad. I'll take you to court. I'll go on social. Everyone already knows the truth. The truth? I leaned in, my hands flat. The truth is you stole from me. The truth is you tossed this ticket like a scrap, laughing at me. The truth is, B, I'm tired of being your ATM. For a moment, the fire in her face flickered. Then it hardened again. If you go through with this, if you don't give me my half, you'll regret it. The words came out icy, not loud but sharp enough to cut. She snatched her purse off the chair. You'll be the old miser who cheated his own daughter. People will believe me. They always do. I didn't stop her when she stormed out. The headlights swung away. My house sank back into silence. But silence doesn't last long anymore. By morning, my phone was buzzing with notifications. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even LinkedIn. Beatrix had gone nuclear. My own father stole my lottery ticket. He's keeping $150 million from his family. Elder abuse is real, even when it's reversed. There were pictures of me at Christmas, looking tired and stiff in my red sweater. Comments piled up. How could a dad do this? Give her the money? Old man. Disgusting. I scrolled until my stomach turned. Slammed the laptop shut. Then the landline rang. The caller ID read a name I didn't expect. Orville. I almost let it go, but something in me wanted to hear what game he was playing. I picked up. Mr. Quincy. Orville's voice was calm. Too calm. We need to talk about what happened on Father's Day. Do we? I asked. I was there, he said. I saw Beatrix toss that ticket to you. I saw her call it a gift. She's lying, and I don't condone it. The words hit me sideways. You're saying you'll back me up? I'm saying, he replied carefully, I have my own reason for not wanting lies in this family. Let's meet tomorrow. Murphy's Diner, 10 a.m. I hesitated. Could I trust him? Or was this another setup? You don't want to hear what I have to say? Orville added, voice like gravel. Then watch your back, Quincy. Because the storm your daughter's kicking up, it's only the beginning. The line went dead. I set the receiver down slowly, the hum of the dial tone crawling up my spine. And when I turned toward the window, I froze. Across the street, a black SUV idled with its lights off, engine humming low. And inside, I could see the glow of a phone screen pointed straight at my house. Murphy's Diner smelled like bacon grease and burnt coffee, the kind of smell that seeps into your jacket and rides home with you. It was the kind of place where farmers came in at 6 and lawyers came in at 10 pretending they still ate like farmers. I walked in at 9:55. Orville was already there, sitting in a booth by the window in a pressed navy blazer that looked ridiculous against the red vinyl. He rose when he saw me, shook my hand like we were about to close a real estate deal. Quincy, he said, thanks for coming. I slid into the booth across from him. You said you had something to tell me. Let's hear it. Dolores, the waitress, topped off 2 mugs without asking. Morning, boys. Eggs or just coffee? Coffee's fine, I muttered. Orville waited until she left, then leaned in. Your daughter is playing a dangerous game. She's trying to spin the whole town against you. But I was there on Father's Day. I heard her call that ticket a gift. I saw you accept it. No conditions. No deal. A gift. I studied him. Why would you go against your own son and daughter-in-law? His mouth twitched. Because I raised Phineas to know better. And if he's going to stand there and back her lies, then he's not the man I thought he was. For a second, I didn't trust my ears. Orville, the man with the perfect golf swing and the smug smile, was siding with me? He pulled out his phone, scrolled, then turned the screen so I could see. Drafted on Facebook was a long statement. As a witness at the Woods family Father's Day gathering, I can confirm the lottery ticket was presented by Beatrix as a gift to her father, Quincy. There was no agreement, no sharing arrangement. Any claim otherwise is false. I cannot remain silent while a good man's reputation is destroyed. My throat went dry. You'd post this? I asked. I will, he said. Today. People trust me. They know my word in this town. It'll cut through her noise. I didn't know whether to feel relief or suspicion. What's in it for you, Orville? His eyes hardened. My name, my integrity, and maybe, just maybe, a chance for Phineas to learn what honor means. He hit post before I could say another word. Within seconds, his phone started buzzing, notifications stacking up like dominoes. This will turn the tide, he said, sipping his coffee as if we hadn't just lit a bonfire under my daughter's lies. I wanted to believe him. God help me, I did. By the time I left the diner, the sun was high, and for the first time in weeks, I felt something close to hope. Maybe the truth actually had a chance. But hope doesn't last long in my world anymore. When I got home, I found 3 envelopes stuffed into my mailbox. The first 2 were junk, credit card offers, coupons. The third was different. No return address, just my name typed neat and cold across the front. I tore it open at the kitchen table. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No signature. No letterhead. Just 6 words, typed in bold black. Drop the claim or lose her. I sat frozen, the words burning into me, until I noticed something else fall out of the envelope. A photo. My granddaughter Elodie, walking out of her high school, backpack slung over her shoulder, taken from a car window. The picture of Elodie lay on the table like a live wire, humming in my chest. She was just walking out of school, smiling at something on her phone, oblivious that someone was close enough to snap a shot from a car window. My first instinct was to call Beatrix. Then I stopped myself. If she was behind this, if this was some twisted stunt, calling her would only feed the fire. Instead, I called Mavis. She picked up on the second ring. Quincy? You sound like hell. Listen, I said, my voice low, tight. I just got a letter. Anonymous. Said, drop the claim or lose her. It came with a photo of Elodie outside her school. There was a long pause, then a sharp inhale. My God, you're going to police, right? I looked at the envelope. No fingerprints. No stamp. Hand-delivered. Somebody had been right at my mailbox. I don't know. I admitted. What if it's just a bluff? What if I make it worse? Quincy. Her voice hardened. If someone is watching Elodie, this isn't about your pride or your money. Call the cops. I didn't answer. The rest of the day blurred. I sat in my recliner with the curtains half drawn, the lottery ticket locked in my desk drawer, and the photo burning in my thoughts. Every time a car slowed outside, I flinched. That night, the phone rang again. Beatrix. Against my better judgment, I answered. Dad, what the hell did you and Orville do? She barked before I could speak. His stupid post is everywhere. People are messaging me like I'm some scammer. Do you realize how bad this makes me look? B. I said slowly. Do you know anything about a letter? About someone taking pictures of Elodie. Her tone cracked. For just a second. What? No. Why would you even? Because it was in my mailbox this morning. Threatening her. There was silence. Then, you're trying to turn this on me. Unbelievable. B. I don't have time for your paranoia. Hand over half the winnings, and all of this goes away. You think people won't believe me? They already do. She hung up. The next morning, I drove to Elodie's school and parked across the street. Kids spilled out with backpacks and earbuds, laughing, running to cars. I scanned every vehicle in sight. Minivans, pickups, a black SUV idling by the curb. My hands clenched the steering wheel. The same black SUV I'd seen outside my house. It pulled away slowly, blending into traffic. I followed. My old Buick wasn't made for chasing shadows, but I tailed it 3 blocks until it turned into a strip mall lot and parked near a laundromat. Tinted windows. Engine running. I parked 2 rows back and sat there, heart hammering. Finally, the driver's door opened, and out stepped Phineas. He adjusted his tie in the reflection of the glass, glanced around, then ducked into the laundromat with a manila envelope under his arm. I gripped the wheel tighter, every nerve screaming. Phineas, my son-in-law. I started the Buick, ready to follow him inside. But before I could, my phone buzzed with a new text message from an unknown number. You've been warned once. Quincy. Next time, it won't be a photo. And attached, the blurry image. Elodie, this time asleep in her bedroom. The photo on my phone nearly made me drop it. Elodie, asleep in her bed, her hair fanned across a pillow, taken from inside her room. I gripped the wheel so tight my knuckles went pale. Someone had been in Beatrix's house. Someone close enough to breathe the same air as my granddaughter while she slept. My first thought was to call 911. But another thought gnawed louder. If this was Phineas, if he was the one behind the wheel of that black SUV, the one carrying envelopes into laundromats, then the police might tip him off before I had answers. I waited until he came out, envelope gone, his face calm like he'd just dropped off dry cleaning. He climbed back in, drove off without a hurry. I tailed him 2 neighborhoods over before he turned into his own driveway, parked, and walked into the house whistling, like nothing in the world was wrong. My chest was a storm. I called Mavis. He was there. I told her. Phineas. Same SUV. He's involved. Quincy, listen to me. This is beyond you. If Elodie's in danger, you need to tell the police. And if it's him, I spat. Her own husband? B won't believe it. She'll twist into me trying to ruin her marriage. No one will believe me. They already think I'm the villain. Mavis lowered her voice. Then you gather proof. Quietly. Before he buries you with his lies. That night I sat in my living room with the lights off, the ticket locked tight in the desk. My laptop glowed with 1,000 angry posts. Beatrix's followers were calling me a thief, a heartless miser. But tucked between the noise, Orville's statement kept getting shared. A flicker of balance. At midnight, my phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Still holding on to that ticket? Remember, accidents happen. especially to little girls who leave their windows unlocked. I stood so fast the chair toppled behind me. Elodie's window. I grabbed my keys and tore across town, the Buick groaning as if it wanted to save her too. I parked half a block away from their house, heart hammering, and crept along the hedges until I had a view of her window. It was open, curtains swaying in the night breeze. I forced myself to breathe, to watch, to wait. Then movement, a shadow shifting inside her room. I sprinted to the front door and pounded so hard it shook. Lights flicked on. Beatrix flung it open, hair wild, robe pulled tight. Dad? What the hell? Her window's open. I barked. Someone's in Elodie's room. She spun, screaming her daughter's name, bolting up the stairs. I followed, my knees burning. We burst into Elodie's room. She was sitting up, terrified, clutching a blanket to her chest. "Grandpa," she whispered, "why are you here?" I swept the room with my eyes. No one, just the breeze and the curtain and the sharp smell of fresh cigarette smoke. Beatrix spun on me. "You've lost it. Breaking into my house in the middle of the night? Scaring her like this? What is wrong with you?" "I'm trying to protect her." I snapped. "Somebody's watching her. Somebody's been in here. Or maybe," she hissed, "this is just another one of your games. Keep the money for yourself." Before I could answer, a sound cut through the house. The front door closing. Not slamming. Closing. I froze, every nerve lit. Someone had just walked out. The sound of the front door shutting was soft, deliberate, like someone didn't want to be noticed. I didn't think. I ran. My knees ached, but adrenaline carried me down the staircase 2 steps at a time. The foyer was empty, moonlight spilling across the hardwood. The deadbolt hung loose, the brass chain swaying. I burst out onto the lawn. The night air hit me like cold water. My eyes scanned the quiet suburban street. Porch lights glowed. Sprinklers hissed in the distance. Then movement. A dark figure cutting across the yard 2 houses down, heading toward the black SUV parked under the oak tree. "Hey!" My voice cracked the night. The figure froze and sprinted. I tore after him, heart pounding, shoes slapping pavement. My Buick sat across the street, but I was too close to let him go. I closed the gap just as the driver's side door of the SUV opened. "Stop." I lunged, grabbing his sleeve. For a moment we struggled, his arm twisting, my grip iron from years of wrenches and grease. His face turned toward me, lit by the glow of the street lamp. Not Phineas. Norbert. Phineas's buddy. The one always hanging around their house, talking investments, bragging about big deals. "Quincy, let go," he snarled, yanking free. "What the hell are you doing in my granddaughter's room?" My voice was raw, fury boiling out of me. He shoved me back hard. "You don't know what you're messing with, old man." The SUV engine roared to life. Norbert jumped inside, tires screeching as he tore down the street. I staggered, breathing hard, watching taillights disappear. Behind me, Beatrix stood on the porch, arms crossed, face white with anger. "Congratulations, Dad. You've officially lost your mind. Attacking our friends in the middle of the night? Do you want the neighbors to call the cops?" "B!" I rasped, pointing down the street. That was Norbert. He was in Elodie's room. He left the door wide open. Her laugh was sharp, brittle. "Do you hear yourself? You sound insane." Norbert was probably dropping off paperwork for Phineas. He's been helping us with the business. He had a camera. He's the one taking pictures of her. Her face hardened. "No, you're just desperate to spin this story, to keep the money. Admit it. You'd rather paint everyone else as monsters than share what's rightfully mine. B, get out." Her voice cracked like a whip. Get out of my house before I call the police myself. I wanted to argue, to shake her and make her see, but Elodie's wide eyes peeking from the window above stopped me cold. I left, the drive home blurred, my knuckles white on the wheel. My house felt smaller than ever, shadows stretching long across the walls. I sat at the kitchen table, the lottery ticket in front of me, the anonymous letter beside it. My head spun. Norbert. Why him? Why Elodie? Near midnight, the phone rang. I almost didn't answer, but something in me knew I had to. A man's voice, low, disguised. You should have listened, Quincy. My stomach dropped. Who is this? You've been warned twice. There won't be a third. Leave my granddaughter out of this. The line clicked. Silence. And then my porch light flicked on. Motion sensor. I turned toward the window. A package sat on my doorstep. No knock. No footsteps. Just sitting there in the pale yellow glow. I stared, every nerve screaming, as if the box itself was breathing. The package sat on my doorstep, like it had teeth. Just a plain brown box, no label, no tape beyond what held it shut. The porch light hummed overhead, and the neighborhood was quiet except for the crickets. I opened the door slowly, half expecting it to explode just from being touched. My hand shook as I bent down and picked it up. Light, too light, inside at the kitchen table. I set it down beside the lottery ticket. For a full minute, I just stared. Then I sliced the tape with my pocket knife. Inside was tissue paper, neatly folded. Beneath it, a single item, a child's pink hairbrush. I lifted it with trembling hands. A long, blonde strand was caught in the bristles. Elodie's. My stomach lurched. I shoved the box away like it had burned me. The landline rang. The old rotary bell sounded like a fire alarm. I snatched it up. You're too stubborn, Quincy, the voice said, distorted but steady. You've been warned. Give up the claim. Sign it over to your daughter, or next time it won't be just souvenirs. My chest tightened. If you touch her, you still don't get it. The voice cut in. This isn't about her. This is about you. We can make you look like whatever we want. A miser, a thief, or worse. Click. The line went dead. I sat there in the kitchen, clutching the brush, the silence roaring in my ears. At 2 a.m., I drove straight to Mavis's. She opened the door in a robe, hair tied up, her face pale when she saw what I carried. Oh, Lord. She pressed a hand to her mouth. That's Elodie's. I bought it for her last Christmas. Someone's been inside her house again, I said, my voice breaking. They left this on my porch like a calling card. Mavis sat me down at her kitchen table, poured strong coffee. Quincy, you can't keep this to yourself. This is past pride, past family drama. This is criminal. I don't trust the cops. I muttered, not with Phineas and his circle. He's got connections, money, half the damn town already on their side thanks to B's campaign. Then what are you going to do? She asked. I didn't answer, because I didn't know. The next morning, the war online was worse. Beatrix had posted a teary video. My father is losing his grip. He's accusing innocent people, breaking into our house, stalking my daughter. I'm scared of what he'll do next. Hundreds of comments. Sympathy. Outrage. Some saying I should be arrested. Others saying I was dangerous. I slammed the laptop shut so hard the screen flickered. Around noon, my phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. Check your mailbox. Quincy. I staggered outside, the summer heat pressing on me like a hand. My mailbox leaned at the curb, sun-bleached and rattling in the wind. I opened it. Inside was a single photograph. Elodie again, this time sitting at her school cafeteria table, laughing with friends. And scrawled across the bottom in red marker. Tick-tock. I turned in a slow circle, scanning every parked car, every shaded corner. Nobody, just a feeling of eyes. When I got back inside, the phone rang immediately. I answered without thinking. It wasn't a distorted voice this time. It was Elodie, her voice small, scared. Grandpa, can you come get me? Please. Where are you, sweetheart? My chest squeezed. A pause, then a whisper. I think someone's following me. Grandpa, please, Elodie whispered. He's outside. I saw him by the bike racks. My blood turned cold. Stay where you are. Don't move. I'm coming right now. I grabbed my keys, the photo still clenched in my other hand, and bolted for the Buick. The old engine coughed awake, headlights slicing the evening air. The school was 15 minutes away, but every red light felt like a noose tightening. My mind raced. What if this was a trap? What if the caller used her phone somehow? But I couldn't ignore her voice, the fear in it. When I pulled into the lot, The place looked nearly deserted. Just a few scattered cars, the glow of a security light buzzing overhead. "Elodie?" I called, my voice echoing. "Grandpa." She darted from the side of the building, backpack bouncing. Her face was pale, her eyes wide. I ran to her, pulled her close. "It was him," she whispered into my shirt. "The man with the hat. He was watching me through the glass." "I swear it." I turned her toward the car. "Get in. Lock the doors." But as I walked her across the lot, headlights flared. A black SUV rolled in slow, tires crunching gravel. The same one. My pulse thundered. I shoved Elodie into the passenger seat of the Buick. "Down. Stay down." The SUV pulled up nose to nose with us. The windows stayed dark. The engine idled like a growl. I stared through my windshield, jaw clenched, hand gripping the steering wheel so tight it shook. Finally, the driver's side window slid down just a crack, enough for me to see the smirk. "Phineas." "Evening, Quincy," he called, his voice calm, almost mocking. "Out late for a joyride?" My heart stopped. Elodie gasped, sinking lower in the seat. "You stay the hell away from her," I shouted. My voice bounced against the empty lot. Phineas chuckled. "Relax. Just making sure family's safe. You know, since you're so worried about everyone. Is this your game?" I spat. The pictures. The letters. The brush on my porch. His smile widened. "Careful what you accuse me of. Oh, man. Defamation's an ugly word." The SUV rolled backward, slow, controlled, before turning out of the lot. Taillights vanished into the dark. Elodie sat up, tears on her cheeks. "Grandpa, it was him. I saw him by the window before you came." I held her hand, my knuckles trembling. "I believe you." We drove in silence until I pulled into Mavis's driveway. "You'll stay here tonight," I told her. "Not a word to your mom yet." Inside, Mavis nearly collapsed when she saw Elodie. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" "She's shaken, but safe," I said, pacing. "Phineas is behind this." "I know it, but I don't have proof yet." Mavis touched my arm. "Then you need to get proof, before this spirals any worse." Elodie looked up at me, her eyes pleading. "Grandpa promised you won't leave me alone again." "I promise," I said. But in my gut, I knew I was lying to her. I couldn't protect her without finding out the truth, even if it meant putting myself in danger. At midnight, after they'd both gone to bed, I drove back out. The streets were empty, just the hum of the Buick and the throb of my pulse. I parked across from Beatrix and Phineas's house, engine off, watching the dark windows. Hours passed. Then movement. The front door opened. Phineas stepped out carrying a duffel bag, looking around before locking up. He tossed the bag into the SUV and drove off. I followed, headlights off, staying back as far as I could. He cut through side streets, weaving toward the industrial district on the edge of town. Finally, he pulled behind an old warehouse, rust eating the walls, a broken sign swaying in the wind. He killed the lights and disappeared inside, duffel slung over his shoulder. I parked half a block away, heart hammering, and crept closer. Through a broken window, I could see dim light flickering. Shadows moved, voices low and sharp. And then I saw it. Phineas wasn't alone. He was standing with Norbert, both of them bent over a table covered in stacks of cash. And lying in the middle of the table, next to the money, was my lottery ticket. I crouched in the weeds outside the warehouse, the night pressing on my back like a hand. Through the cracked window, I had a perfect view. Phineas and Norbert at a folding table, piles of cash stacked like bricks, my lottery ticket lying right there between them. Norbert slapped the ticket with his palm. "It's worthless without the claim. We can't cash it, not unless we get Quincy to hand it over." Phineas smirked, pacing. "He'll fold. Old man's already cracking. All it takes is a little more heat. His reputation's shot. Half the town thinks he's a thief." "Yeah," Norbert said. "But he's stubborn. What if he doesn't break?" Phineas leaned forward, his voice colder. "Then we take what matters to him most. You saw the kid. She's leverage. One more scare and he'll crawl to us." I gripped the brick wall so hard dust crumbled under my nails. My blood boiled, every instinct screaming to storm in and dragged them both out by the throat. But I held still, because I needed proof. I fumbled for my phone, switched the camera on, and aimed it through the glass. The lens caught their faces, the cash, the ticket. My thumb trembled as I hit record. Norbert pulled out a cigarette, lighting it with a snap. The smoke curled toward the ceiling. So what's the next move? Phineas leaned back in his chair, confident as ever. Tomorrow, we send him something he can't ignore. Then we'll offer him a deal, split the winnings or watch everything burn. Norbert grinned. And if he calls the cops? Phineas's smile sharpened. Cops won't save him. I've got people in my corner. This is our payday, Norb. One way or another. I swallowed the rage rising in my throat. My hand shook as I zoomed in on the ticket, creased, coffee-stained. The numbers that changed everything. Mine. That's when I felt it. A prickle on the back of my neck. The sense of eyes. I turned slowly. Across the lot, in the shadows of a broken street lamp, a figure stood watching me. Not moving. Just standing there, hands in his jacket pockets. The beam of a phone screen lit his face for half a second. Orville. My stomach dropped. He'd followed me here. And now his eyes met mine, cold and unreadable. He raised a finger to his lips. A silent don't. Then, just as suddenly, he turned and disappeared into the dark. Inside the warehouse, Norbert's voice rose. Did you hear that? Phineas grabbed a flashlight, sweeping it toward the window. The beam blasted across the wall, closer, closer. I ducked down into the weeds, my chest pressed to the dirt, my phone clutched tight in my hand. Still recording. The beam stopped. Hung there. Probably nothing, Norbert muttered. But Phineas didn't lower the light. Maybe, he said. Or maybe someone's already watching us. And the beam inched down, straight toward where I was hiding. The flashlight beam slid lower, slicing through the weeds like a searchlight. My chest pressed so tight against the dirt I could barely breathe. The phone in my hand felt like a bomb ticking. Hold on, Phineas said inside. His footsteps scuffed against the concrete floor. I swear I heard something. Norbert groaned. You're jumpy. Probably a raccoon. Maybe, Phineas muttered. The beam stopped inches from my face, lighting the grass in stark white. My heart pounded so loud, I thought they'd hear it through the glass. Finally, the light swung away. I exhaled silently, my lungs aching. I waited another 30 seconds before inching backward, belly to the ground, moving toward the Buick parked half a block away. When I reached the car, I slipped inside and stayed low. My hand shook as I stopped the recording, saving the video. Proof. Their faces, the money, the ticket. Finally, something real. I fired up the engine, headlights still off, and rolled down the street. I didn't see Orville anywhere. That bothered me more than I wanted to admit. By the time I got home, the horizon was bruised with dawn. I replayed the video 3 times, each word sharper than the last. We take what matters to him most. Elodie. They meant Elodie. I collapsed into my chair, head in my hands. I should take this to the cops, but the thought gnawed at me. What if they were right? What if Phineas had someone inside? What if the footage vanished in some technical glitch? The landline rang. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I grabbed it. Hello. Silence. Then a click. I slammed it down. 5 minutes later, my cell buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Nice night for a stakeout, wasn't it? My chest tightened. They knew I'd been there. I stumbled to the window, scanning the street. A garbage truck rumbled by. A jogger passed with earbuds in. Normal. Too normal. The phone buzzed again. You're in over your head. Quincy. Walk away or you'll lose more than money. My hands shook as I typed back. What do you want? No reply. By noon, the story was everywhere. Beatrix had gone live on Instagram, tears streaming down her face. My father is stalking us. He broke into our house. He's spreading lies about Phineas and our friends. Please, if anyone sees him near my daughter, call the police. I don't know what he's capable of. I sat frozen, watching the comments flood in. Hundreds of them, siding with her, calling me unhinged dangerous. My phone rang again, Mavis. Quincy, what's happening? People are calling me. They're saying you've lost it, that you're harassing B. They're twisting everything, I said, my voice hoarse. I've got proof, Mavis. Video of Phineas and Norbert with the ticket. Cash on the table. I saw it with my own eyes. Then show it to someone. The police, a lawyer, anyone before they bury you. I promised her I would. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure who I could trust. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with the lights off, replaying the footage again. Proof. My salvation. Then the power cut out. The house plunged into darkness. The hum of the fridge died. The ceiling fan stilled. Through the window, I saw headlights flare in my driveway. A car door slammed. Footsteps crunched on gravel. And then 3 sharp knocks on my front door. The knocks came again. Slow. Deliberate. 3 thuds that rattled my chest more than the door. I sat frozen in my chair, the blackout turning my house into a coffin. Whoever was outside had killed the power first. That wasn't random. That was intent. My hand brushed over the lottery ticket on the table. Proof of everything. My salvation and my curse. Another knock, louder this time. Quincy, a voice called, muffled through the door. Mail. Calm. Open up. We need to talk. I held my breath. Quincy, the voice repeated. It's Orville. Relief and suspicion tangled in my gut. Orville, the man who'd posted the truth online, who'd promised to set the record straight, but also the man I'd seen watching me outside the warehouse, his finger pressed to his lips, like he already knew too much. Open the door, he said. You don't want to be sitting there alone. I hesitated, then grabbed the baseball bat leaning against the wall and cracked the door an inch. Orville stood there in the glow of his car's headlights, dressed sharp as always, his silver hair gleaming, too composed for the middle of the night. Mind if I come in? He asked. I stepped back, the bat still in my hand. Power's out. I muttered. I noticed, he said, eyes scanning the dark corners of my house as he stepped inside. That's not a good sign. You were at the warehouse, I said flatly. His eyes met mine, steady. I was, and I saw what you saw. Phineas and Norbert. The money. The ticket. So why didn't you stop them? Why vanish into the dark? He sighed, taking a seat at my table like it was his own. Because sometimes it's better to watch the fire than run into it. You run in too soon, you burn. I gritted my teeth. That's my granddaughter they're threatening. She's not a chess piece. I know, he said quietly, which is why I came here. He leaned forward. You've got proof, don't you? Video, audio, something. My silence was enough of an answer. Good, he said. You need to protect it. Hide it somewhere they can't touch. Because Phineas isn't playing games anymore. I studied him. Why are you helping me, Orville? He's your son. For the first time, his composure cracked. His jaw tightened. Because my son has turned into something I don't recognize. And if he destroys you, Quincy, he destroys what little name I've built too. I won't let him. Before I could respond, headlights swept across the front windows. Another car pulled into my driveway. Door slammed. Heavy footsteps. Orville stood, his voice sharp now. Get the footage out of sight. Now. The first bang hit my door like a sledgehammer. Quincy Woods, a voice boomed. Not Phineas. Deeper. Official. Open up. This is the sheriff's department. My heart dropped. Orville's eyes went wide. Don't. Another thunderous bang. We have a warrant. Open this door now. I clutched the bat tighter, my breath ragged. If they found the video before I could show it, if Phineas had already pulled strings, then everything was over. I glanced at Orville. His jaw was set, his hand inching toward his jacket pocket. The next bang nearly blew the hinges off. And then came the words that froze me to the bone. Quincy Woods, you are under arrest. The banging rattled the whole frame. My house felt like it might split apart under their fists. This is the sheriff's department. Quincy Woods, open the door or we'll break it down. Orville's eyes locked on mine. Calm. Too calm. If they come in and find that footage, you'll never see it again. Hide it, Quincy. Now. I bolted to the desk drawer, yanked out my phone. The video was there, grainy but clear. Phineas and Norbert, the ticket, the stacks of cash. I shoved the phone under the false bottom of my old toolbox, just as the front door crashed open. Flashlights blasted across the room. 2 deputies stormed in, hands on holsters. Behind them, Sheriff Clay himself, the same man I'd seen shaking hands with Phineas at the county fair last summer. Mr. Woods, Clay said, voice carrying the authority of a man who loved hearing himself talk. You're coming with us. Now. For what? My voice cracked with disbelief. Stalking, harassment, trespassing. We've had multiple complaints. His eyes flicked toward Orville. And if you're smart, you'll come quiet. Beatrix. Of course. She'd spun her story so tight the law was buying wholesale. This is insane, I said, gripping the bat tighter. I'm the victim here. Phineas and Norbert. Drop it. One deputy barked, hand on his gun. Orville stepped between us. Sheriff, this is a mistake. You know Quincy. You know the kind of man he is. Clay didn't flinch. Step aside, Orville. This doesn't concern you. The hell it doesn't, Orville snapped. I was there on Father's Day. I know what Beatrix gave him. I know what Phineas is doing. Clay's jaw tightened. Careful whose side you pick, Orville. Blood runs thicker than reputation. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like walking into a nightmare where every truth I spoke turned to smoke. Sheriff, I said, forcing my voice steady. They're threatening my granddaughter. I've got proof. Real proof. Clay smirked. Then you can show it to the judge. Cuff him. Cold steel bit into my wrists. My house, the same place I built with my own hands, raised my daughter, buried my wife, echoed with the sound of shackles and heavy boots. As they marched me out to the cruiser, neighbors gathered on their porches, phones out, recording. Some whispered. Others didn't bother, hiding their glee. Guess the old man finally snapped. One muttered. I kept my head down, cheeks burning. They shoved me into the back seat, glass and metal closing in. Orville appeared at the window, his face shadowed. Hold tight, he said quietly. I'll fix this. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. The cruiser pulled away, siren silent, but lights flashing blue across the quiet houses. My phone, my proof, hidden in that toolbox. If they searched my place, it could be gone before I ever saw daylight again. At the station, they booked me, fingerprinted me, locked me in a holding cell that smelled like bleach and despair. Hours blurred. Deputies laughed in the hall. Somewhere down the corridor, a drunk sang to himself. Finally, Sheriff Clay appeared at the bars, his hat in his hands. Judge will see you Monday, he said. Until then, you sit tight. I gripped the bars. You're making a mistake. You don't know who you're protecting. Clay leaned close, his breath heavy with coffee. I know exactly who I'm protecting. And if you're smart, you'll keep that mouth shut. Because accidents happen in cells like this. He walked away, boots echoing. I sank onto the bench, head in my hands. My chest felt like a vice. And then, just before dawn, one of the deputies slid a folded note through the bars. No words, no explanation. Just a piece of paper, scrawled in hurried handwriting. I unfolded it with trembling hands. Don't trust Orville. He's playing both sides. The courthouse smelled like old wood and dust. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, striping the benches with pale gold. I sat at the defendant's table in a borrowed suit that hung loose on my frame, wrists aching from invisible cuffs that weren't there anymore. Across the room, Beatrix dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. Phineas sat beside her, sharp suit, smug grin. Norbert lurked a few rows back, his arms crossed, jaw tight. The judge entered, and everyone rose. My stomach churned. This was it, the day their lives would either bury me or finally burn away. Case of the State versus Quincy Woods. The clerk read. My lawyer, a wiry man named Harris who smelled faintly of peppermint, leaned close. We play this calm, he whispered. Let their theatrics sink themselves. But I wasn't calm. I could feel the toolbox back at my house in my bones. The phone hidden inside. Proof waiting, if it hadn't already been found. The prosecutor opened with fire. Your Honor, this is a tragic case of an elderly man consumed by greed. Instead of sharing a family gift, he stalked his daughter, harassed her family, and endangered his granddaughter. We intend to prove that Mr. Woods is not only unstable, but a danger. Murmurs rippled through the benches. Beatrix sniffled loudly, eyes glistening. I love my father, she said when called to the stand, her voice breaking like she'd rehearsed. But he's changed. Ever since the lottery, he's become paranoid. He's accused my husband, my friends, even my child. I don't know who he is anymore. Her words cut deeper than chains. Phineas went next. Calm, smooth, every answer dripping with false concern. All I ever wanted was peace in this family. Quincy's been unstable. He's threatened us. He's made Elodie afraid in her own home. I wanted to leap from my chair, to shout them down, but Harris gripped my arm hard. Not yet. Finally, it was my turn. I stood, palms sweating, eyes burning holes through Phineas. They're lying, I said, my voice steady despite the quake in my chest. I have proof. I've seen them with my own eyes, Phineas and Norbert, with stacks of cash, with my ticket. They're the ones threatening my granddaughter, not me. The prosecutor sneered. Do you have the so-called proof with you today, Mr. Woods? My throat tightened. It's safe, I said. Hidden where they can't touch it. Laughter rippled from the benches. The judge banged her gavel. Order. And then, like salvation, movement at the back of the courtroom. The door swung open. Orville walked in, his cane tapping against the floor. Every head turned. Your Honor, he said, his voice carrying with surprising strength. I need to be heard. The judge frowned. Sir, you'll sit until called. But Orville kept walking, eyes fixed on me, then shifting to Phineas. His voice thundered now. I was there on Father's Day. I saw Beatrix toss that ticket to her father. I saw Phineas scheme. This man, he pointed at me, is not the villain here. Gasps filled the room. Beatrix's face went pale. Phineas's smile faltered. The judge raised a brow. Are you offering testimony, Mr. Johnson? Orville nodded, planting himself beside me. Yes, and more than that. He reached into his coat pocket. My chest seized. Was it the missing piece? Had Orville taken something from the warehouse? He pulled out a flash drive, small and black, holding it up like a holy relic. This, he said, will show the truth. The courtroom erupted shouts, whispers, the gavel cracking for order. And then, before the judge could speak, a voice rang out from the gallery. Don't plug that in. Everyone froze. It was Norbert, standing now, his face twisted with rage. He shoved past people in the benches, eyes locked on Orville, and hissed. You do, and we're all dead. Courtrooms have their own kind of silence. Not quiet, but charged like the air before a storm. That's what it felt like as Norbert's shout echoed through the chamber. Don't plug that in. You do, and we're all dead. The judge slammed the gavel. Order, order. Deputies rushed forward, but Norbert wasn't bluffing. He lunged toward Orville, face twisted, spittle flying. For a moment it looked like he might rip the flash drive right from his hand. But Orville, calm, sharp, stubborn, held his ground. He thrust the flash drive toward the bailiff. Give this to the judge. Now! Norbert howled. You don't know what's on there? And maybe I didn't either. But in that instant, I knew this was it. The whole truth was about to crack open. The judge inserted the drive into the courtroom monitor. The screen flickered and the grainy video appeared. Phineas and Norbert in the warehouse. The folding table stacked with cash. My ticket lying in the middle. The room gasped as Phineas's voice filled the speakers. Then we take what matters to him most. The kid. She's leverage. The words landed like a hammer. Beatrix clutched her chest. Phineas, what is this? Phineas stammered, face white, sweat breaking across his forehead. It's fake. Deep fake. He set me up. But Norbert lost it. He shouted, pointing at Phineas. It was his idea. All of it. I told him it was too far, but he wouldn't stop. Chaos erupted. Deputies swarmed Norbert, wrestled him down. The judge pounded the gavel so hard, I thought the wood would splinter. Enough, she roared. This evidence is damning. Mr. Woods, you are cleared of all charges. Bailiffs, detain Mr. Johnson and Mr. Norbert pending criminal investigation. The words washed over me like rain after a drought. Cleared. Free. Phineas struggled, yelling as deputies dragged him away. This isn't over. You'll regret this, old man. But his voice was smaller now, drowned by the tide turning against him. Beatrix collapsed onto the bench, tears streaking her face. Not the rehearsed kind this time, but raw, broken. For the first time in years, she looked like the little girl I once carried on my shoulders at the county fair. She turned toward me, lips trembling. Dad, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And here was the final cut. Part of me wanted to hold her, to forgive, to rebuild. But another part of me, the part that had been lied to, stolen from, humiliated, knew better. I loved you enough to work myself into ground, I said softly. But I won't love you enough to let you destroy me. Her sobs filled the silence as they led Phineas away. When the gavel struck for recess, I walked out into the sunlight, blinking against its sharp warmth. Orville followed, his cane tapping steady. You did it, I said. No, he corrected. We did. And maybe now my son will finally face what he's become. His eyes softened. But be careful, Quincy. Winning the truth doesn't always win you family. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed, microphones flashing, voices shouting. How does it feel to be vindicated? What will you do with the money? Any message for your daughter? I raised a hand, not to answer, but to silence them. Money didn't cost me my daughter, I said. Greed did. And if you want a headline, write that down. Weeks later, the noise faded. Charges stacked up against Phineas and Norbert. Orville's testimony carried weight. And me? I left, packed up the house with its echoes and drove to a quiet town where nobody cared who won the lottery. I bought a small garage, restored a 1967 Mustang with my own hands, started a fund for single fathers who'd lost their way, so maybe their kids wouldn't. On the wall above my desk hangs the framed ticket, creased, coffee-stained, almost trash. I don't see numbers when I look at it. I see a lesson carved into my bones. That family isn't who shares your blood, but who stands by your side when the storm comes. Sometimes the richest thing a man can own is the peace of finally letting go. And as I locked up the shop that night, stars breaking through the Ohio sky, I whispered the words I've been carrying since that first Father's Day dinner. I'm free. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of the story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the right.